With Quentin Snyder's injury, I want to look back at not the most significant, but the 5 most memorable Louisville injuries. Because in the end, Louisville really hasn't had all that many that were just significant to where it changed everything. But number 5, I'm going Preston Knowles, just because I do think had he not gotten hurt in that game, we'll never know. But Louisville likely wouldn't have lost to Morehead State, which as you know, is the biggest upset loss in Louisville history when it comes to the NCAA tournament. And number 4 is Luke Whitehead. Now that injury, my goodness, that fall that he took, it's amazing that he got up and walked away, and he did miss one game, I think it was, but I think in the end it was just because they were being precautionary because it was such an awful fall. Number 3, I'm going Ellis Miles, just because had he not gotten hurt in, I think it was the Marquette game, he wouldn't have had that 5th year. He was a 5th-year senior when Louisville went to the Final Four in 2005. And that team needed somebody just like Ellis Miles. Most people just remember the three-point shooting from Larry O'Bannon, Taekwon Dean, and Francisco Garcia. But Ellis Miles had a huge role on that team. And had he not gotten hurt, he wouldn't have had that 5th year. Number 2 is Kevin Ware, just because it was such a huge injury. Like it was awful. The way it happened on Easter Sunday on national TV, if you watched it, you could very much tell there was a serious injury they weren't showing you. If you were there at Lucas Oil Stadium, you were very well aware of how serious and gruesome it was. And it got more attention than I ever would have imagined. Even 4 years later, I still can't believe how much that got talked about. It was a worldwide story for about a week. And number 1 is Mike Bush when he got hurt in the first game of his last season that he played at Louisville, because you'll hear for 20 years from now, when people talk about Mike Bush, they'll talk about how good he was and that he may be one of the best running backs that's ever played at Louisville. But they'll also talk about the fact that had he not gotten hurt, Louisville may have a national championship. I mean, they almost got there without him, but had they had him, one of the best running backs in college football, they likely would not have lost to Rutgers that year, probably wouldn't have lost to anybody. And it just set up perfectly that was the year where if they were going to crash the party and make the championship game, that was going to be the year, and that was arguably one of the best teams we've ever had at Louisville, so a lot of people seem to think they would have won that championship game.